Ever get that feeling like you're drowning in information? You just want the core, the really important stuff about a topic,
Absolutely, I know what you mean.
Today we're doing exactly that. We're zeroing in on some incredible research that's giving us a completely new perspective on something most of us don't even think about.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
How tiny molecules in things like hydrocarbons react to light.
Interesting.
And the really wild part, this research is actually linked to understanding air pollution, like that smog hanging over cities.
Wow, okay, I'm definitely on board.
We're diving deep into a paper from physical chemistry, chemical physics. They're doing some seriously cool stuff using cutting-edge tools to actually observe these molecules in motion.
So you're talking like real-time observation of molecular behavior.
That's right. And in this deep dive, we'll be exploring what goes on in those incredibly brief moments after light hits these tiny structures.
I'm all ears.
We want to understand how they settle back down their relaxation process and what that tells us about their role in things like air quality.
Makes sense.
One of the first things that jumped out at me was this concept of intramolecular proton transfer. Sounds pretty sci-fi, right?
A little bit, yeah.
But it's basically about a proton, this tiny part of an atom, shifting its position within a single molecule. And get this, we're talking about speeds that are mind-bogglingly fast.
I can imagine. When you're dealing with the atomic level, things tend to happen pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, we're talking femtoseconds here.
Femtoseconds.
To put that in perspective, it's like comparing a blink of an eye to billions of years.
Oh wow, that's fast.
The technology they used, this ultrafast electron camera, can capture movement thousands of times smaller than the width of a human hair. It's essentially a super high-speed camera for the molecular world.
So they're basically filming these molecules as they move and react.
Exactly. And they aimed this incredible camera at a specific molecule called O-nitrophenol.
All right, so what did they actually observe? What were the key movements?
The most fascinating part is the sequence of events. The moment light hits the O-nitrophenol, it sets off that proton transfer we were talking about.
Okay, so the light is like the trigger that sets everything in motion.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
But that's not the end of the story.
There's more.
Oh yeah, there's a second step to this molecular dance. Immediately after the proton moves, the molecule does this twisting motion.
So it's like a chain reaction. One thing leads to the next.
Exactly. It's like a tiny propeller turning away from the main part of the molecule. Scientists call this deplanarization, and it, along with that initial proton transfer, are the crucial moves the molecule makes to get rid of the energy it absorbed from the light. To relax.
So the molecule gets hit with energy, the proton shifts, and then it twists to kind of shake off that excess energy.
That's a perfect summary. Now you might be thinking, why should we care about how a tiny molecule relaxes? What's the big deal?
Yeah, I can see how someone might wonder that.
Well, if we think about the air we breathe, understanding how these molecules shed energy becomes incredibly important.
How so?
Imagine a bouncy ball. It keeps bouncing and hitting things until it loses its energy. Right?
Right.
Same idea here. If these molecules stay energized, they're much more likely to break apart and create reactive compounds. And some of those compounds can contribute to the formation of air pollutants.
Ah, I see. So it's all about the energy balance.
Precisely. Now, before this research, did scientists have a solid understanding of this relaxation process, or was it more of a theory?
There were definitely some theories floating around about how these pathways work.
But this study really nailed it down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This study provided the first direct experimental evidence. They actually saw it happening.
In real time.
In real time. And that is a huge leap forward in our understanding.
To catch something that small and that fast, you need some seriously specialized equipment. What kind of tech are we talking about here?
They use something called relativistic ultrafast electron diffraction, or UED for short.
UED.
Okay. It all went down at a place called the LENAC Coherent Light Source at the SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory.
That's a mouthful. What does it actually involve?
In simple terms, they fire extremely short bursts of electrons at these molecules and observe how they scatter.
Kind of like a super fast strobe light capturing atomic level motion.
You got it.
And it wasn't just the experiment itself. They crunched some serious numbers with computers too, right?
Absolutely. They backed up their experimental observations with some truly sophisticated computer simulations. This allowed them to model the molecule's behavior down to the atomic level and confirm what they were seeing in the lab.
So they had the experimental evidence and the computational support. That's a powerful combination.
It really is.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. We have light hitting these hydrocarbon molecules, a proton zipping around, and then a twist. How does this microscopic dance relate to something we see in the real world, like smog on a bad air day?
This research is really shedding light on the formation of nitrous acid in the atmosphere.
Nitrous acid.
Yeah, it's a major player in air pollution and smog formation. The way these hydrocarbon molecules interact with sunlight, including the specific relaxation process, can directly impact how much nitrous acid is produced.
So by understanding this tiny molecular dance, we can begin to untangle the complex web of how pollution actually forms.
Exactly. And it all starts with these fundamental interactions at the molecular level.
And this study on O-nitrophenol is just the first step, right?
Yeah.
We can apply these insights to look at other more complex molecules.
Precisely. This research lays the groundwork for understanding a whole range of molecules that are suspected of behaving in similar ways. It's a crucial step towards getting a more complete picture of pollution formation at its most basic level.
So the big takeaway here is that light triggers these ultrafast movements within hydrocarbon molecules, a proton transfer followed by a twist.
Right.
And this is a key way for them to relax, to shed that excess energy. But it's not just about molecular relaxation. This process is directly linked to how these molecules act in our atmosphere and their potential to contribute to air pollution and smog.
It's a fascinating link between the microscopic and the macroscopic.
Absolutely. What I find so amazing is how these seemingly insignificant events at the molecular level can have such profound invisible effects on our environment.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Now here's something to ponder. How many other invisible processes are constantly happening around us, shaping the world, including the very air we breathe? It's definitely worth considering.
Certainly a
Food for thought.
absolute